on and off the field.
Well, there was 3 or 4 games this year he needed to deliver, and he did. He had a little slump in the middle of the season. That Oakland game, it was kind of bad weather Cleveland games. But in the end, he's good enough. Now, I'll say this. It's a head coach quarterback league, and I think between Stefanski and this last week, what is happening in the AFC is remarkable. Burrow, Allen, Mahomes, Herbert, Baker, Trevor Lawrence, Lamar Jackson, and most of them have what we consider to be A coaches. So the reality is, Gruden, Derek Carr, the road is only going to get tougher for Cleveland because as he signs a contract, you're not going to be able to go out and just grab an Austin Hooper on the market. The reality is this, when these rookie quarterbacks, Mahomes, by the way, rookie contract, he's only making $5 million this year, and Josh Allen. If you look at the AFC, the last bunch of quarterbacks, they're all on rookie contracts.
Well, this has been the formula as of late. Get to the Super Bowl with a quarterback that's on a rookie contract. Like that's how it goes. That's why you should go all in when you know you have a guy in the beginning. Sign all those free agents, get all those stars, and put some big pieces around him. I don't anticipate Baker having a Patrick Mahomes-like contract whenever he is signed. He still has another year left on his contract and a team option for 2022. So they don't have to sign him right away. He still have a little bit of time, but they are going to stick with him moving forward. You got to win your division first. Yeah. And as tough as the AFC North is, it's completely winnable for Cleveland. Like, the Ravens had a up and down season. Like, that division is open. We don't know what's going on with the Steelers. Joe Burrow's coming off of an injury. As great as he was, they still have some growing to do. So I think that Cleveland's in a great position moving forward. They've certainly set a tone and put together a culture, which is great for the league and great for Cleveland.
Listen, getting the culture right, a third of the team doesn't have that right. So just getting that right, Miami now has it right.
Yep.
That's the Jets don't. The Lions don't. Atlanta doesn't yet. I mean,
the Lions are going to have a lot of excitement and energy and motivation.
Dan Campbell.
Yes.
He's got all the things that don't really matter but get talked about and are quotable, like alpha and motivation. If Joel Osteen would coach football, if that mattered.
You know what motivates me to go to work besides my love for talking about sports?
What?
The paycheck that I get to do it.
Yeah, that's fair.
That's your motivation to work.
Gives you a better life.
I mean, no, just like that's what makes you go to work. Like that's what makes you do a good job, right? Like you get paid to do it. Right. There's not volunteer work here. Like, what is this motivation thing? Go win games. It's actually very motivating. The more you win, the more you're motivated to keep winning.
Lions lead the league in bursting through the doors out into the field.
Running through walls. There's no walls in the whole Lions facility. So Justin Fields has officially declared for the NFL draft. He announced on social media he will forego his final year of eligibility and leave Ohio State. In just 8 games this season, he had a career-high 70.2 completion percentage, 2,100 passing yards, 27 total touchdowns, and only 6 interceptions.
Looks like a good quarterback to me. Runs, big throws, played in big games, great against Clemson. He just needs an NFL quarterback coach, refine it, but looks good to me.
I think that game against Clemson answered all questions.
Yeah, same here.
The Big Ten championship game was a little questionable, but he did have an injury.
Alabama's better than Ohio State.
Alabama's great.
Let's just. Great. Trevor Lawrence last year was engulfed by LSU. LSU had 15 guys drafted. LSU was better than Clemson last year.
I do think, though, just looking at the draft order and all of the stuff that you started the show with Deshaun Watson, the Dolphins at that 3rd pick. We don't know what the Jets are going to do with Sam Darnold. This draft and NFL offseason, like last year was wild with Cam and Brady. This year could be crazy.
Look at the Jets' number 2 pick, to Joy's point. If I just put right there, Jaguars draft 1, Deshaun Watson 2, Dolphins 3, wouldn't you be like, yeah, that you could not do better in the draft than Deshaun Watson. If I'm the Jets, I got 5 first-round picks next 3 years. Give them up. The Texans need draft picks. They need a quarterback. You could get Darnold and draft Justin Fields. I mean, you could literally do that both.
I told you yesterday, I don't believe in hoarding up draft picks. Like, you do obviously need to build through the draft every single year.
To get something.
So sometimes package that together and get a known commodity if you're in a situation where you have pieces there. That's why I love it for the Dolphins. For the Jets, it's also very interesting because Saleh is a defensive guy. So if you have a playmaker like Deshaun Watson there and he's a star, I mean, can you imagine New York with Deshaun Watson? So good. It's weird. We're only talking about AFC East teams for him.
Well, the
Dolphins,
Miami
Patriots,
rumor.
And Jets.
Well, the Jets make sense. Robert Saleh would love him, and Deshaun mentioned Robert Saleh. Secondly, Miami was a rumor, Chris Mortensen, who I trust.
Yep.
And New England has no dynamic offensive players. There's your magic elixir for the Patriots' offensive woes.
Yeah. I mean, Deshaun might not love that, but
I don't know. He's lost a lot of big games to Belichick. I think he'd be okay with it. I mean, honestly, I think he'd be okay with it. Joy with the news.
Well, that's the news.
And thanks for stopping by.
The Herd Lie News.
Kevin Clark's one of my favorite sports writers in the country, NFL guy. The Ringer used to write at the Wall Street Journal. And Slow News Day Videocast, which is a riot. And Kevin Clark is joining me, brought to you by Mercedes-Benz, the best or nothing. Let me just start with this trade thing, because I shouldn't be engineering trades. It's nonsensical. What am I doing? I'm just an idiot talking, right? But there are moments where you don't have to, Kevin, make big leaps. Deshaun reportedly wants out. Do not blame him. Boy, if I could take, I mean, let's be honest. When you traded Jamal Adams, you got those picks to get a star. He's your star. It makes some sense, right?
It makes sense. And I would say that Deshaun has all the power because he has that no trade clause. Maybe he doesn't want to rebuild another culture in New York. I understand that part. But the point of draft picks is to do something with them. Don't just take 5 guys and try to build something. You need a Deshaun Watson to change everything. You take 5 draft picks because you want a Deshaun Watson. Now all of a sudden he's available. I would take the big swing if it's available. If Deshaun just wants out, I would just try to do it because it sounds like he doesn't want to play for Cal McNair anymore. I think you take that leap. I think you take that chance.
So what did you make of, I thought it was so Andy Reid. And yesterday, Peter Schrager brought up something. He goes, once he won the Super Bowl, you play with a little bit of house money because now Chad Henne, go for it. But I sat there and I thought, this is why I love Andy Reid. A lot of old coaches get outdated because they don't adapt. And Andy Reid is 66 going on 26. Yeah. What did you make of that moment for Andy and the game itself, losing Mahomes with 8 minutes to go in the third and still winning that game?
Colin, if your life was on the line and you had to pick one person to design a play to get you a first down for your life, it's Andy Reid. And that I knew that. I went in third down, 3rd and 14. Chad Henne runs at 17 miles per hour, according to Next Gen Stats, almost picks up the first down. Okay. And then they run the sprint right. Tony Romo, who sees everything, didn't see that coming. It was unbelievable. I've talked to Chad Henne about this in the past, about how Andy Reid uses practice. And he wants guys like Mahomes, obviously, but also Chad Henne to test their limits in practice, make mistakes, sort of understand what they can do and what they can't do. And I don't think it's an accident that they knew that Chad Henne could run this sprint right option and that Tyreek Hill could do it because they understand the supporting cast. They understand what they can do. They have all of these advantages. There's a reason that Andy Reid is hosting his 3rd straight conference championship game at home. No one's done that except Andy Reid with the Eagles. He understands how to operate in this league. He understands exactly what needs to be done. I agree with you. They're playing with house money after the Super Bowl, but Andy Reid is as amazing of a head coach for this era as there is. Listen, remember, Nick Saban said defense is over, right? And that's the most unbelievable endorsement and most evidence that the defense is over ever that he said. That's like Elon Musk saying, solar cars are over. It's just a totally different thing, okay? And for Andy Reid, the best offensive coach to be in this era with that offense, it all checks out. I just hope Patrick Mahomes can play this weekend because it would be a real shame for football fans if we don't see Josh Allen versus Mahomes.
Yeah, so do I. And, I said this, and it probably wouldn't happen. I said, listen, Tom Cruise breaks an ankle. They delay production of Mission Impossible 6. Jay-Z gets sick. You don't go to the backup. We have moved the Masters highly rigid to November. It wouldn't be the craziest thing. I mean, it really wouldn't to me. In the spirit of competition, just watch the concussion protocol. You pass it. If Mahomes said, I can play Monday night, that's when we play. Is it outrageous to say that?
I think it is. And it would be a real shame for this season we've had to go through with so many interruptions and Wednesday afternoon and all that stuff to not get the amazing conference title game and to not have, one thing that's amazing about this Final Four, Colin, is it's 4 of the best coaches in the NFL and 4 of the best quarterbacks in the NFL.
Yeah.
And for the best quarterback in the NFL to be removed from that and not get that would be close to a football tragedy, okay? But I think there's just nothing that can be done in regards to that. You just hope that he gets approved by the independent neurologist and that he's able to play. I would also say the toe injury is a concern. I've talked to quarterbacks this week who say a toe injury, I mean, that is the kind of thing. Obviously, it's far less important than his health and the concussion, but I would say that will impact him as well. Remember, this time last year, they played Tennessee, and the best play in that game, in the AFC title game, was him running down the left sideline. I was there. I couldn't believe it, not getting tackled for that touchdown. So I think that those are both things to monitor, and I just hope he can play just from a football perspective.
So one of the funny things you do is you talk. I'm from Seattle, so I've watched every Seahawk game since Jim Zorn. What do you say? What is your saying on the Seahawks? They haven't.
Never play a normal game. Never play a normal game. Yeah, and apparently they can't have a normal coach hire either.
So they've never played a normal game in Seattle. They're all kooky. Their wins, their losses. So I see the story this morning about Adam Gase, and I'm thinking he's going to be the coordinator. Proof that Pete hates Russell Wilson. Yeah, that you could not do better in the draft than Deshaun Watson. If I'm the Jets, I got 5 first-round picks next 3 years. Give them up. The Texans need draft picks. They need a quarterback. You could get Darnold and draft Justin Fields. I mean, you could literally do that both.
I told you yesterday, I don't believe in hoarding up draft picks. Like, you do obviously need to build through the draft every single year.
To get something.
So sometimes package that together and get a no